Hello and welcome. It's episode 29 of Paint Calm on a Friday. And yeah, I think it's time to do a little Robin on a fence in a snow scene. So, yes, nothing that anyone hasn't done before, but yeah, I just thought it has to be done over Christmas. So, let me make sure I've got my right glasses on. There we go. Right. So let's start with what I've sketched out. So all I've done is a few fence posts and my little robin. And I've got a bit of a horizon line there. I've done them fairly dark so that you can see them. But obviously I don't want them that dark for me to paint. So I'm going to use my soft putty eraser, and I'm just going to soften out some of those lines so that they're not quite as dark. So I can still see them kind of. So you can see that's what the putty eraser has done. It's just taken away some of the boldness of the pencil, I suppose you might call it. So today I'm going to start by doing with white gouache, and we will use, what shall we use? We'll use the size 6, I think. And I want to get in my snow in the field at the front. So that's what I'm starting with. And it might be a little bit tricky because, and I'm just turning it to help me paint, because I'm going to need to paint around my robin and the fence posts. So just more or less anyway. So there we go. We're making a start. I don't know how much this will show up on the screen, but that's all I'm doing is I'm painting with my white gouache around anything that's below that horizon line. And I'm probably going to lose my robin's feet, but that's okay. Mainly because it'll be too tricky to paint around, but that's okay. So I find this method of getting this white gouache in the background really rather good for doing all of these snowy scenes. Unless you've got really white paper, it can be tricky otherwise. I've lost his legs and his feet, but never mind. We know roughly where they're going to be. So there we go. We've got some of our, well, we've got our white background in. If I bring that up a bit more, yes, I think you can now see that better, can't you? Where I've just literally gone round everything. And next I want to get the background in. So for that, just get myself a nice clean brush. I'm going to wet the background up to my horizon line. Probably going to lose the beak now, but it's okay. We can make that all out later. So there we go. We're just going to wet that background. And then I think I'm going to use, so this is the palette that I'm using today. It's got a real mixture of, it's got Aliona's colours in, and then I've added a few more. But it's not really important what I've got in this palette. What I'm going to do is pick out a Payne's Grey, and I'm going to pick out this kind of burnt sienna colour. So that I've got those two there, and those are the two that I'm basically going to be using. So I'm going to start off by just allowing my paint to do the work, more or less. Going across my horizon line. So that it looks like there's some kind of trees going on. Then I'm going to take my burnt sienna to give us a bit of interest in our sky instead of the usual blue. And there we go. I think that gives us quite a nice little background going on there. If I can find it, there it is. I'm just going to get my palette knife, and it might be a bit too wet still, but we'll see. Oh, it's not too bad. I'm just going to scratch out some tree shapes. And you see, there we go. And we've got lots of interest going on at the back here. There we go. Now we've got our really neat background that wasn't too hard at all, is what I'm going to say. Right, what's next? I think we'll dry it so that we can get our fence posts in, and then we can do our robin and any other details that we want to do. So I will just pause while I dry. Okay, that is now dry, and still with my size 6. I am going to get my fence posts in. So I think I will use a bit more of the burnt sienna, and then I'm not sure exactly what brown this is. It's possibly a sepia, looking at it. Yep, that looks like a sepia. And what I might do is just kind of mix the two. bit. There we go. So let's see if we can get these fence posts in. And you'll notice that I've done my fence posts in all different sizes, some of them tilting and leaning a bit, you know, just to make it all a little bit more interesting, and you know, not as if we've drawn them out with a ruler. And then let's take a bit more of our burnt sienna and just drop that in because we want our fence posts to look nice and interesting. There we go. That helps, I think, with our fence posts. I'll bring that up a bit closer just so that you can see where we are. Lovely. Now let's think about our robin then. So I'm going to go down to a size 2 brush now. Let's remove my size 6 for the moment. Pop you back in there. Right, size 2. I'm going to start with this little, what I call helmet, which is definitely this dark brown. So let's get his little helmet in. There's our little helmet part. But maybe we'll just bring that around a bit like so. Yeah, I think that looks better. Now I'm going to need some red. It's going to be too red almost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some burnt sienna to it. And there, I think that makes it a little bit better. So we'll get our red bit in next. Try and leave space for our eye. So we've got his nice red belly coming down, and that kind of goes around a bit. Okay, and then we'll go back to our brown because we want these wings in there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the brown in there, but I'm also going to go back to my white because I want to get the little white bit underneath in there, but we don't want it to look too white against the snow. Okay, there we go. And we need some little legs and feet that we lost. So going back to my darker brown, we'll get 1 and 2 little legs in. And we also need a beak. So I think we'll stick with the same colour we used before for the red breast, and we'll just get a little beak in there. Obviously we're probably going to need some more detail, but that's fine for right now. Now we need some wire to go with our fencing, and I'm going to go back to the Payne's grey. Or actually this could well be indigo. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's the same colour that I used at the top. And I'm just going to get my bit of fencing in. Like that. There we go. So now we've got our little bit of fencing in. So obviously our robin's perched there for a reason. So we're going to get a little branch coming up in a moment and some berries. And we can still do a bit more work on our robin and maybe define these posts a little bit more. But first I need to dry this again. So here we go, back in a sec. Okay, I am not sure where the video cut out. So I'm going to do my best and apologise profusely. Obviously, I'm trying to fit everything in before Christmas myself, and probably it's more haste, less speed needed. But what I did was I've once I'd done my posts and I'd done my little wire fencing, I then added some snow to my fence posts, and I then added in these little branchy twigs with some little berries on for our robin to eat. And finally I added in some white splats into the background there. So I'm hoping that that's where I left off and that you can see what I've done. And I'm just going to hugely apologise. I really wish I had time to do this again. However, I'm probably not going to have time to re-record it, so it probably will go out as is. Okay, so thank you so much for joining in with me and being here, and stay safe and stay healthy and stay calm until I can see you next time. Bye bye everyone.